the Kingston HyperX tournament, you've neglected to say what game. What game it's for. And,
Really?
and I
Didn't
haven't.
say StarCraft 2?
I guess I hadn't been saying StarCraft 2.
You know what that is?
So
You know what Christmas is? You're actually kind of attached to like every game because you're just that valuable.
Now I'm going to start saying,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the Kingston HyperX 10-year anniversary tournament, and if you can't tell, we're playing StarCraft 2.
Boom.
We're playing StarCraft 2. So, but no, thank you for.
Did they have an air of like helpfulness, or was it more of a like you're an idiot?
It's one of those ambiguous tweets where you don't quite know, but you read it, you're like, oh, hey, yeah, he's right.
I actually, part of my favorite part of internet culture is the things you hear there that you'd never hear in real life. Like we got a really nice compliment. Someone said, they tweeted like, "Hey, In Control, you and DJ Weed are great. Not as good as Bitterdam though." The end. And I was like, what?
Thanks, man.
Who does that? Like, hey, thanks for inviting me over for dinner. It wasn't the best food I've ever eaten, but it was
I don't
a fun
know,
time.
Jeff.
Like,
I don't know, Jeff. No, I'm just playing. I love those guys.
I do too. I like it.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a complete circle jerk of casters if we didn't make fun of each other. So.
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what is Jaedong going to do here in game number 1? Or game number 2? Excuse me. PuMa was very quick to just tap out.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, that hurts. Let go of my arm. And you know, this is a huge change from what we saw in some of his games yesterday. But you know, I think what he had what series was it where he dropped the first game but then came back? That was Younghwa, right?
Younghwa, yeah.
And in the first game we were kind of like, whoa, PuMa, or where's the PuMa?
Younghwa looked amazing.
And he did.
Yeah.
And then they had a role reversal. Obviously that's a TVP.
Yeah.
But then he went on to play Suppy.
Yeah.
And PuMa versus Suppy went up in PuMa's favor as well. So he looked phenomenal in those games. In one game, he killed 120-plus drones.
Yeah, we had to watch that.
Yeah, I cried myself to sleep about
I did,
that
man.
last night.
I'm not even a Zerg player. I watched that, and it's just not good. It's just not good at all. Anyways, we got a command center first here. The drone's going to weather itself down while trying to be annoying. It's one of those things you just do because you're here, you're scouting. And then sometimes you make a miracle happen, and we all laugh and have a good time. It's kind of like a nuke. You got a ghost, sometimes you just make a nuke and use it that way. But let's talk about the map a little bit. Why would PuMa insta-call Ohana? There was not a gap there. There was not where he like consulted Cody or a manager and started, you know, what map should I go over? No, it's Ohana. Well, this is a map, and a lot of commentators will tell you this, the 4th base is conflicted for the Zerg player in particular. Terran players can run up to the base of the ramp, and then they can siege that base from that position, and they can secure a very powerful position. A lot of times, 4ths are challengeable, if you will, but on this map it's particularly good because it's not just the 4th you control with that position, but rather also a middle alleyway, one of 2. And if you can start controlling mid-map and challenge 4th bases against a Zerg, well, now you're cutting into the resource they need for Broodlords, but you're also taking position you need to then drop from as kind of a base camp. So it's just a very powerful map in that regard. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot going for it, but for Terrans, that's enough.
Now, and we've also seen, you know, I guess attempts in some cases. Do you go with the closer 4th, but it's a little bit further away from your main ramp, or the one that you're talking about where the Terran can inherently siege? But I've found in late game, even this base goes up, and it becomes really easy for the Terran to just poke at it, especially if they are established right there, because then they can siege up here and create a giant, you know, choke that I guarantee you've seen it before. Like units coming over here to try to defend it, and the Terran just coming in there and getting a lot of damage done.
Well, one of the concepts we talked a lot about with maps in early StarCraft 2, and it's fallen away a little bit more because the maps got larger and kind of new to take this concept into hand, but if a Terran can expand towards a Zerg's expansions, and for the exact reason you just illustrated, they can fortify it with planetary fortresses, but also just kind of focus their energy in that area as opposed to being spread out across the map, that's when a Terran player becomes particularly powerful, and this map allows for that. So the Terran should take their 4th after the 4th of the Zerg. If they're not, then the Zerg's got problems for reasons the map doesn't necessarily need to help with. But if they can expand and put a planetary there and then just kind of consolidate their forces near that area, they're both protecting a resource dump but also challenging that of a Zerg. And so you're exactly right.
So Jaedong did go with 3rd hatch before pool, and he's going to go right to stim. You know, I thought that maybe, having known that, I guess PuMa did throw down his 3rd CC, so that would be it. But right now is operating on what was a gasless build, means that speed is most definitely going to be a little bit later than it normally would. But, you know, yesterday when PuMa did his very, very quick blue flame it just did so much damage to Suppy. I thought this might be an opportunity where we'd see him use it again, but no, he's actually going to go by with the double eBay going down a very early stim, and I guess he'll go ahead and supplement with these Hellions as well. So there's 4 out on the map, and the creep spread is good enough that he should have no problem defending it, despite the fact that there's no speed and it just got started.
Well, it might be a read on Jaedong, but I'm not quite sure if we saw he got the particular information necessary. He was just kind of taking a bit of a calculated gamble. But if you're facing a gasless opening, there's absolutely 1,000% no reason why you don't take a greedy third, because slow lings against any number of Hellions will always die just over and over again. It's those gas openings where if you take a fast third, now you're really being risky, and it's probably unnecessary to do that, because Zerg can just be like, oh, okay, makes a bunch of lings and then runs you over.
Right.
But in this situation, PuMa's pulling out ahead of the build. The big question I have, of course, is that a lot of times we've been seeing that mech build, mech style. It seems to be where Terrans are kind of focusing their energy a little bit more, but we're seeing a bio opening. So I want to see what PuMa's got in store for us, because game number 1 he played great. It was just that one big engagement where he got completely obliterated.
Oh, nice job blocking that choke. Queens were a bit back, but because that creep is so good, that's the defense I was talking about, able to handle even 6 Hellions with no problem. He did get a couple lings, but ultimately it was the Zerg who kind of won that little engagement.
22 Zerglings.
We are seeing 22 Zerglings, like right as speed is about to complete. 1-1 on the way, not going to be effective if there is an attack coming up here. But they're on their way.
Yeah, and this is basically the reactionary build. It's not even fair to really call that. Anyways, Jaedong is in position to do this. He says, okay, you're going to take that greedy third. I'm not seeing the Hellions grow. If the Hellion numbers are growing, he doesn't do this, because that's stupid. But knowing it's bio, he's looking at this and saying, well, I'm going to face like 10 Marines. So, of course, I make a bunch of Banelings.
Oh, and here they come right now, slow. The wall has been put down. The Banelings have been spotted. Wall goes back up. Is he going to be able to close it? No!
He does! Oh, no, the other one. But maybe he wanted that, actually. Look at the funnel.
Actually, yeah. That was, I think Jaedong keeps his units there to keep it open, but, a huge hit there.
Well,
and he's going to get a few SCVs. No, use the SCV.
Get it. Shoot it in the face. All right.
But he has a lot of links coming in here on the follow-up as well, so that was probably pretty smart to eliminate some of that Marine threat. There is not that much in terms of Marines here. The SCVs are going to have to turn around, create some sort of funnel, but man, look at those lings inside. A lot is going down already. We're seeing 23 SCVs have been killed. This will be cleaned up, but it's crazy. More and more lings streaming down here. He has to evacuate this, and look at that. This is on lockdown as well, so right now PuMa been knocked down to just one base.
He's been reset, and the cool thing about this too is behind it there's a Spire. Well, that means that the low Marine count's going to have a tough time dealing with the 1-2 punch that is the Zergling Bane, well, 3 punch I suppose, Zergling, Baneling, and Mutalisk. PuMa's going to win back his natural, but he's got a long way to go. He's got to get over to the third and make sure that's not happening either. But while doing that, he's stepping out into shark-infested waters, man. He doesn't know what's going on out there. He's lost map control.
He's lost a lot of map control. The creep already up to the forward tower that belongs to PuMa. He does get both of his orbitals landed again, but, I mean, let's take a look. 33 SCVs to 71 drones. We talk about how we'll see Jaedong go up to the 90s, sometimes 100, and right now that just means, well, with the Spire finishing up, he's going to be in great shape. He's got about 600 gas right now. I'm assuming we'll see those initial mutas, and then he'll go with it. But it's not like he's got the surplus of minerals to just throw down a lot of missile turrets and whatnot as well. In fact, he's finished his 1-1, but we don't see an armory yet, so that definitely put him behind.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things that goes away when you get hit by anything hard is your upgrades. It becomes a very background noise. Jaedong doing a lot right now, so that's actually interesting. His Spire finishes, and a lot of times you try to have that synced up with your production. We'd like to see like 12 mutas being produced right off the bat, but instead we don't. And right now, PuMa actually with this drop's getting to pick off a couple mutas, but more importantly, he gets forward alert. So while you were talking about this missile test he couldn't afford, you're absolutely right. He's now going to make time to afford him, I promise you that.
Yeah, and we already see the first one going down. Now, also, PuMa did kill a couple of mutas right there, which is going to be great for him. He already started off with a low number up to 4. I think there's only 2 on the map, 6 total since the other 2 popped. So, that's even 6 is way easier for PuMa to deal with now than 8 would be. So getting those 2, I think, was actually pretty good move there.
Yeah, and you can just see PuMa's fiercely trying to regrow. The big problem here, though, is the defenses. He can't get to his third and natural, so that's why he's out on the map right now. not to mention fighting back creep tumors, but he's also in part trying to say, whoa, stay away from me. I don't want you to see how weak I am back here. But Jaedong,
oh my goodness,
loading up on the Banelings. He's got just, again, that handful of Mutalisks, but what they do is they kill the medevacs, they offer that, they aggro the more damage, and they go for the tanks, but man, that Baneling count is scary.
It is, and this small little group here is going to find out just how bad it is. Oh, he needs to pull it
really
back.
Good, though, actually.
Baiting them into that siege fire.
Whenever Banelings try to go after something, they bunch up a lot more. So that was actually really cool, because any tank shot there would have killed all of them.
Creep spread at the 14-minute mark already up to the front.
Insane.
This is about where it's going to stop, because you can see the siege line right there, just ready to take anything out.
It is kind of perfect,
right
isn't
there.
it?
Yeah. And that'll be about it. And now we're seeing PuMa. Now the big difference between this and what we saw in Antigua is that you could create that sort of artificial wall to allow you to move out from, and it's much harder to do. We're kind of seeing it happen over here to protect the third, but it does leave the natural just a little bit vulnerable. The mutas have gone in to that third base. They are not going to get that missile turret, and at least 2-3 mutas were killed there. Down to 5 now, so 3 were killed. We saw another one fall. But again, like this is really the big issue to deal with. As long as he can keep a few behind to clean up and stop those drops, he should be in good shape.
PuMa can't move out. I mean, that's the big thing here. Like Jaedong says, okay, you're on 3 base. That's fine. I'd prefer it if you're on none. What I'm going to do is try to, yep, exactly, just try to cut down the Marines that do walk out into that creep that you had pointed out that's literally pushing up against the natural in third. And behind this, he'll go 5 base. And Zerg on 5 base, banking money at Hive, getting that 3-3 upgrades. Be it Broodlords or Ultralists, it's just insane how much better they can outspin the Terran at that point in time.
Drop was spotted, not sure how, by an Overlord. I don't know, just by the third eye of Jaedong, but that drop is going to go down. And Marines moving forward, trying to clear out the creep. And this is something that absolutely has to get done, but here comes the rest of the forces continuing to pin PuMa back at his main base.
Yeah, and the Lings are going to trickle forward. Actually, looks like Jaedong might just go for it. He's going to move in here. A lot of the Marines were behind up that ramp. The tanks in the front, they do go down almost instantly. That means the Banelings can move in here, and they're going for the big group. They're splitting the best they can, but there's just a game of numbers going on right now.